After a series of meetings between the leadership of the People Power Movement, led by Chadondo East MP Robert Chagulanyi and former FDC presidential candidate Dr. Kiza Besigye's group, an agreement has been reached to, among other things, enable the two parties to work together. The two parties also agreed not to attack each other. However, the announcement has raised voices of resentment from others. For instance, the DP bloc, who have been working with Chagulanyi. So can the latest agreement forge a united front to give them a joint presidential candidate come 2021? On the spot night is the Kampala Lord Mayor, Elias Lukwago. Your Worship, the Lord Mayor, thank you very much for honoring our invitation. You are on the spot, and a warm welcome to you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure featuring on this very wonderful show.
Yesterday, the People's Government, where you belong, and the People Power announced something close to a coalition. But precisely, what is it that you are getting into as the People's Government and the People Power?
Well, I presume the salient issues were ably presented by the spokespersons of the two platforms at a presser, which was held at Fairway Hotel yesterday. And they were aptly summarized and captured in a document that was signed and executed by the two sides. And the principals of either side, they signed. And there were three key issues. One, appreciating the political environment in which we are operating right now as being very oppressive, hostile, and inimical to democratic governance. Secondly, recognizing the fact that we need to forge a common front. We need to come together. Not in the sense that we merge the platforms, or we create an electoral alliance, or we form a coalition, because those are two different formations.
So what is working together?
What is working together is literally, cooperation. That's what I would say. Minimizing friction amongst the forces of change. The viewers outside there will agree with me that in the recent past, we have encountered lots of challenges as forces of change. The cracks we had within our own edifice as a force, each one at a different fort, focusing on their own agenda without realizing that there is a common, there is a minimum program we can advance together, facing the same challenges, facing the same enemy, if you may allow me use that term, and also facing the same challenges.
So you believe that in the past, the People Power and the People's Government have had some kind of differences. What are those differences that you seem to have merged now and maybe removed so that you can be one?
You see, I subscribe to the realist school of thought, who do not believe in burying their heads in the sand and assume that everything is okay, because it would border hypocrisy. Some of us are not hypocrites. We face it, the reality as is. So the fact is, we have faced those challenges. One, these are two forces which are not political parties, you realize. People's Government is not a political party. It's an embodiment of different interests which came together to advance a cause which has been succinctly explained by the flag bearer of that, the vision bearer, and our leader, and many of us. And we prescribed the solution to that being defiance, non-violent approach to the challenges. That has been our approach. And that has been a platform which has got different entities. There is FDC, there is CP, and others. But of course, you realize that along the way, new forces have emerged. In the wake of the Tojukwata Corps, there was a semblance of unanimity within the forces of change, because there was a common thread amongst all these formations. Whether you belong to DP, UPC, JEMA,
You wanted to protect the
FDC,
constitution, not to be...
exactly.
Yeah, but
To tell Ugandans
what is
that
common-
let us guard
what
the
is
sanctity.
What is that common thread that binds you together now?
First, initially, it was the sanctity, guarding jealously the sanctity of that document called the
Yes,
Constitution,
that is
which
understood.
is
I
the
am
foundation
talking-
of
I
the
am
nation.
talk-
Now,
Your worship,
yes.
I'm talking about today. What is that common thread that brings you together?
Oh, wonderful. What brings us together right now is the hostile political environment, which I've said is inimical to democratic governance. You will agree with me, there is no room for contest of ideas. Parties, by their nature, they are competitive. They have different agenda, they have ideologies, they have ideals, and of course, they are manifestos.
So can you
So,
say
no,
with
wait a minute, I
confidence
wanted
that
to
your
conclude
two
this
groups
point.
have buried the hatchet? Because I say the hatchet because I remember sometime back, Dr. Kiza Besigye was accosted while moving out of a radio studio somewhere in Mengo by people who were claiming to be coming from people power. And to me and to other people perhaps who saw that, there was some kind of, a hatchet
see,
was up.
I
Have
don't
you buried that
understand.
hatchet?
I don't know why Ugandans, at times you become very unrealistic. I'm sorry to say this. You want a baby to crawl the very day it is born. That is a mirage. It cannot happen. This is work in progress. We've had a series of meetings in the last few days. And the outcome you have seen in the press, rather in the press statement that was issued, are quite promising. So we are building on that. Of course, it doesn't happen overnight.
If you don't tell your
Listen,
people that you're coalescing on areas of ideology, areas of strategy, and things like that, because it is going to be very difficult for people to understand you're coalescing around what. Because look, the Honorable Bobi Wine
Can I break
made
it
it
down?
very clear that he's going to be on the ballot come 2021. The Defiant group was saying, no, you actually don't even believe in elections.
Can I tell you
Isn't that
if
a
you
fact?
may give
You are
me
being
just 1-2
realistic.
minutes.
Isn't that a realistic fact, Your Worship?
Yeah, obviously. But the political environment obtaining in the country right now would not permit contest of ideologies, contest of political programs, contest of manifestos. And that is the hallmark of electoral democracy. Electoral democracy is all about that. You present your agenda, you present your manifesto, your ideas in the same political market where I should also come, we tussle it out. And that ultimately, the best manifesto will carry the day. But that is absolutely impossible in the obtaining circumstances. Why?
Now, what you're calling impossible, I had an opportunity of also hosting the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, and for him, he thinks if people can go and get the Ndangamuntu, if people can go and register, the NRM government or party is beatable, and he has strategy to beat it. And you are saying that is impossible.
No. Don't mix up the two. Don't mix up the two. The question of people obtaining in Nangamuntu, national ID, is totally different. And it should be divorced from the whole agenda of fighting the dictatorship we have right now. It should be divorced. Why? For Ndagamuntu, it's a symbol of identity. For one to be a citizen, we all agreed across the board that you need whatever it's worth, whether it is for symbolism or whatever, you need that simple, small document. Like I'm sure you have a baptism card. For me, I have so many IDs. I have the one of Uganda Law Society. For me to be a member of Uganda Law Society, I have my ID. And I will tell you, if I do not have that identity, I'm not allowed to participate in the processes of Uganda Law Society. So it should be the case with the country. So it's a legitimate issue for Ugandans to get a national ID. But whether that is the guarantee for the country to usher in the political dispensation we want, that's what is debatable. And I don't
let me
think Honorable
paraphrase this.
Chagulanyi subscribes
Your,
to that.
Your Worship, let me
Yes.
paraphrase this question for you,
Yes.
because what I have heard with a lot of clarity from Honorable Robert Chagulanyi is that he would want to contest. In fact, even the Daily Monitor ran a story that he will contest for the presidency come 2021. What I've heard from you is that the environment cannot allow for us to have some kind of election.
No,
this is what you have just said here.
No. And one of the reasons why we have come together is to forge a common front and fight to usher in that political environment we want, so that in 2021 we have a free and fair election. You get it? We all agree, and that's where you have misconstrued our message. And actually, I don't know whether it is deliberate, whether it's accidental, whether it is intended to subvert, to mislead the nation. But the whole point is, none of us in the people's government has ever said we're going to boycott elections in 2021. We have not said so. But we are saying we need to create that environment, because you cannot, Mr. Museveni is not going to create that environment you want for the people of Uganda to exercise their right, for the people of Uganda to determine the destiny of this country, for their will to prevail. So you need to struggle so that the people of Uganda regain their sovereignty now, to take charge of all the political processes in the country. Because right now, what we are contending with, and we have said this time and again, and I want to repeat it here now, that what we have in place is a military junta. That's a fact. What we have is a military government. You do not have a political party called NRM taking charge.
So is your strategy to stop a military junta using other means other than ballot?
Of course, it is a two-pronged approach.
So which is the other approach?
It's a two-pronged.
Which is the other approach?
Non-violent struggle married with electoral processes at the tail end of the struggle. Because even non-violent struggle, you've seen where it has happened. In Sudan, the civilian authorities demanding, yes, we have removed the obstacle. That is Bashir. Now we want power to be seized by the civilian authority.
So
they were saying they want to.
Is the people's government trying to take the Khartoum initiative of removing a president?
You see, it cannot be cut and paste.
But what is it?
Listen, it can't be cut and paste. Of course, the ideals could be the same, but the strategies vary from one country to another. In our case, what has happened in Khartoum may appear in a different form altogether. So it may not necessarily follow that people will go like they went and besieged or laid a siege on the military installations outside there. And then the military fraternized with them, and in the end they chased away Mugabe, or rather Bashir, and took charge of the state affairs. It may not take that form. Here it could be a different story, but the struggle is the same. That is the common thread which I've said. We are facing a common threat, a common problem, whereby you want to exercise your rights in an environment which is intoxicated with these other forces.
But you have also heard from the people power, quoting Dr. Kiza Besigye, saying that it is almost impossible to think that you are going to remove President Yoweri Museveni using a ballot. And the answer was pretty clear, that this man has tried once, twice, thrice, and fourth time, and has failed.
But
so
when people tell you,
if he has failed, it doesn't mean they are going to fail.
But if I tell you, two principals of different platforms who are adults of sound minds come before the nation and say, look here, we have had a series of engagements. We have had intense reflection on the challenges we are facing in this country. This is what we have realized, which is the challenge. And it is spelled out that the challenge right now is militarism. A military government clothed in a civilian authority, or masked in a civilian, civilian authority. Now, if we have realized that, do you need to roll the wheels back to where we have come from? Because it's a realization. This is exchange of ideas and views, so that you buy into my argument, or you may look into my approach and say, no, it has good flaws here and there.
This is what I have.
And then,
Honorable Lukwago, this is what I have seen now from you. And since you've just said you're a very realistic man,
Yes, you are.
Honorable Bobi Wine clearly has the momentum right now. You can either choose to ride on his wave, or you stand on his wave and his wave will bury you. So you have understood that he's got the momentum and you have to play ball with him. That's what it is.
That is being very simplistic.
No, that's what it
Listen.
is. No, let me.
Wait a minute.
With all respect, I have
Wait
never.
a minute.
With all respect, I can even see the red is coming on.
Oh my God. That's how you people have trivialized these issues. For even sake, I would request let us not delve into trivialities. Listen, wait a minute. Let me put in my defense. Is this the first time I'm putting on red? Throughout the Tujukwatako campaign, didn't you see me draped in red from head to toe? Didn't you see me that? Is it your first time to see me in red?
Clearly.
No. I think you are trivializing a very important.
But colors,
let me tell you
colors
this.
are symbols.
Let me tell you this for your information. Some of us, we belong to that group you would call the seen it all. You get it? We've been there.
Let me bring
So,
my let me
listen,
tell my producer.
listen.
Let me tell my producer
if
to
you-
give me. Yes, you're going to do that, Your Worship. Let me ask my producer to give me a clip of some of your members on what they say about this coalition of people power and the people government, and then you can tell me what you think. I think I have. I'm going to be okay. Let me play that later. Okay, but the truth is, the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi has the momentum right now. The truth is, he has this wave that is carrying people along, those who believe in him. And the truth is, in my view, that if you want to align yourself, you have political interest, it's better to ride on that wave than stand against it.
Did you read and understand or comprehend fully the issues raised in the statement? Was there anything to do with one riding on each other's momentum? You see, this is where you people go wrong. Let me tell you. You've seen from the Arab Spring to what has happened in Zimbabwe, what has happened in Sudan, what has happened elsewhere. Is it a one man is sure, like you were suggesting, that Lukwago may be having the momentum and he goes it alone? What is that momentum you are talking about? Agreed. And it is considered fine.
So you think he doesn't have the momentum?
No, he has it, definitely. If it is, listen, if you could give me just 1 minute to explain this. If that momentum is harnessed to usher in the much needed change, what do I lose? You mean it is wrong for me to harness, to work out my attempts and modalities of harnessing the potentials of Honorable Chagulanyi, the momentum you are talking about towards ushering in the political dispensation the political dispensation Ugandans are yearning for? You mean it's bad? It's bad? So this is the whole point. We agree he has gotten the momentum. We agree it's a wave which is there. But we are saying, yes, it should be harnessed for the good of this country. Right, what's wrong with that?
Okay, let me.
What's wrong with that?
Let me play for you and for viewers the views coming in from the other people who belong to the DP bloc and where they talk about this coalition.
We are looking at somebody else. No. We think that Dr. Besigye is coming to beef the efforts that have already started. He's coming to beef efforts that are already in progress, and we can't really have any hostile words any longer.
All of us know that Kanukiza Besigye has done a tremendous job in the opposition, but we need this young man, a vibrant, a new voice, to finish the job. What Kanukiza Besigye, what Tiwa Somogere started, the Sebagalas, what they did, Kizza Besigye, he moved that job forward. Honorable Kyagulanyi is going to simply finish.
If I may, maybe repeat the words of Dr. Abed Bwanika. If I may also go biblical, it's like maybe Dr. Kizza Besigye was the John the Baptist.
And the,
Creating the
clearing
way,
for
Bobi Wine. Now he's done his part, and now his part can only reach that level. And
we have had that philosophical talk. The metaphors have been made. Actually, you may even call him, you can use the Joshua Musa story, that we are going to Canaan. Probably Musa did his work. It's time for Joshua to carry on with the remaining journey. We have heard all that. But one thing I will tell you, a political development of that magnitude, like what happened yesterday, obviously was bound to cause the tremors you are witnessing. So it's not surprising to us that you are getting that kind of response from our brothers who have made those statements. It's not surprising. But like I told you, it's work in progress. I know with the time, they will fit within the framework, hopefully, if we agree, because we seem to be talking at cross purpose. That's the challenge. We seem to be talking at cross purpose. We are talking about dismantling the junta right now to pave way for a democratic dispensation. For them, they are focusing, if I got them correct, they are focusing on electoral contest in 2021. Of course, one limb of our approach is about participation in elections, one for continuation with the struggle, or if we have dealt with the challenges we are facing right now, then each one can go their way. By the way, if we get rid of the Museveni oligarchy right now, and we usher in a transition, because that's what we are struggling to have, and this transitional government stays there for a few months to prepare a free and fair democratic electoral process as provided for in the Constitution, why would you need to have a single candidate? So you will have political parties, because the purpose of political parties, you have your own ideology, you have your own manifesto, you have your own ideals, you aggregate your interests, you front candidates. So each political party, if this will front their candidates, their candidate, Fraga Beala, DP will do the same, JEMA, PDP, CCDP, whichever, all the parties, and the independents. And Ugandans will have a menu from which to choose. So you will not need a single candidate if you deal with the challenges we face today. It's like what happened in DRC.
So you have no
listen,
no grain of faith at all that the electoral process that we have now, that returned you many times twice as mayor of Kampala, that also had the Chadondo people elect the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, cannot give you any opportunity to take on the NRM party and win the election?
It's good in all the bulletins you are running. At least hardly a day passes when you don't have a scene of scuffle between the state agencies and the citizenry. The face-off. Mr. Museveni, because of paranoia, has unleashed terror on the people. He has stifled public debate, and more or less actually, the political environment we have right now, that contest cannot successively be there. So what you need to do right now, because before you come to what you need to do, you've seen the rallies being organized by the people's government, ruthlessly broken up. Even in the meetings of FDC, even the DP bloc who were talking here, when they went to Jinja, what happened? By the way, it was just a good, a legitimate program of the DP bloc to say, let us reach out to different parts of the country. So the last time the DP bloc had an outreach program, it was in Jinja, where they faced the ruthlessness of the powers that be. So in that kind of situation, even the media right now, they are making recommendations that you people be sacked because you are hosting people who are considered to be hostile to government.
Your worship,
So
you
in
have
that
a
case-
blueprint of beating the NRM government. You have done it twice in this city against all odds. You've done it. We have also seen examples in other places where the opposition has beaten government despite the money that has been put in, despite the intimidation and all other things that have been deployed in the field. You have beaten them. Why can't we use the Lukwago blueprint and then enlarge it? You know, in Kabarole, where I come from, people said we are not going to touch the constitution. In Fort Portal, they said no, we can't. In Kasese, they said we cannot. There are areas.
What
Why
was the
can't
nature of that struggle?
Well,
Was it an electoral contest?
in your
That
case,
agitation,
in your
that
case,
agitation.
in your case, it was.
No, it wasn't as such. I won by defiance. I had to overwhelm the rigging machinery of NRM. I had to overwhelm the military forces.
The overwhelming was because
The
of the so
overwhelming-
many votes that even if they
Not
decided to
only the
steal-
votes, but also the consolidation of the forces that rallied behind me. The preparations that were made for the people to face those challenges.
Let
So
me-
that
let-
you have people.
you know, sometimes I ask questions, but I also listen. I listened to the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi. Somebody called on this show and said, you know what can we do to ensure that our votes are not stolen? And that man was calling and speaking in Luganda. What can we do to ensure that when we vote, our votes are not stolen? And he answered, and I think, which is so crucial, that they can only steal that vote that is not enough. Vaba akataweda, if I can say it in Luganda, that you should overwhelm him with votes. Even when they want to vote, to steal, they will be overwhelmed. I think that word that he used, well seated on that chair where you
See-
are, that they can only steal that is little. Overwhelm him with so much votes that they cannot even steal it. That's what happened in
Are
Kampala.
you suggesting that Dr. Besigye did not get enough votes to call for the kind of response you're talking about? Is that what you are suggesting? In 2016, 2011, is that what we are saying? When actually even the courts of law confirmed that actually persistently and consistently, they have already said there's been rigging. And everybody witnessed here. We have explained the stories of how they subverted the will of the people. If it's a study center in Naguru here, all the results were being transmitted to that study center before they were relayed to Chigundu in Nambole. So Chigundu was just there like a puppet, receiving tally sheets which you could not explain. So with that kind of falsification of results, what do you do? Dr. Besigye was arrested. In my presence there, we were all rounded up when we unearthed that house where they were manufacturing the results. So what happened? So the point here is, if you get a man who brazenly invades the parliament as they are debating the constitution, and you unleash terror on the members of parliament, they were beaten up. You saw what happened. We have explained even some of our members of parliament up to now are still in a wheelchair. The same gentleman goes out of his way and tells the iPod summit that, look here, don't waste your time. Unless I accomplish my mission of liberating Africa, I'm not ceding power. Then we go to the Supreme Court. We started with the Constitutional Court. They all appreciated our case. Let them not deceive you. If you are talking about overwhelming systems, we presented overwhelming evidence, a truckload of evidence. Not literally in the sense that we brought wheelbarrows and whatnot, but we brought overwhelming evidence. They all agreed with us. So in Mbale, they said 4-1. We come to the Supreme Court. They all realize, you saw how they handled this issue. And you mean that gentleman who does all that, he's ready to go into a free and fair contest? So these are the challenges we are talking about. The clampdown on the media right now, you know, things which you cannot even imagine, which are so strange that, you know, you with your employer here, NTV, your relationship is contractual. That UCC whatsoever has no mandate to make a directive that you be sacked. But they issue directives. that so and so be sacked.
That's why we've gone to court anyway.
You get the whole point.
That's why we're in court. That's why we're
So
fighting.
a man who goes to
that's
Chobe,
an issue. We're not going down.
look at
without
Article
a fight on
71
it.
of the Constitution. It's couched in mandatory terms that all political parties and organizations shall conform to the democratic practices and principles enshrined within the Constitution. Primary of those conditions or principles, there must be a contest for leadership internally. And they're saying actually the executive committees of different political parties must be put in place following an electoral process. A competitive electoral process. Now we amend the NRM constitution to say he will appoint directly the Secretary General to turn that office into, to turn that person into a stooge. So with all those maneuvers, with all those manipulations, done blatantly, would you expect such a person to concede that he has been defeated in a free and fair electoral process?
And now, so what do you do? Because how do you remove him?
Yes.
You want to use something unconstitutional?
Exactly. What do you do? No, not unconstitutional. That's why we have always invited you people to read the express provisions of Article 3, Clause 4, that all Ugandans of majority age, of sound mind, who are able-bodied, are duty-bound to take action in a situation where you witness unconstitutional tendencies, where the sovereignty of the people is being subdued. Now we are saying the military government we have right now must be subordinated to the civilian authority. That is the struggle we are fighting, because with the civilian authority, you can organize free and fair elections. A military government cannot organize free and fair elections. And that is the bone of the crux of the matter right now in Sudan. They are saying, much as we have rid of the junta, of the Bashir junta, you yourself you have no trust that you can organize free and fair elections.
You know, that's a dangerous path. And you are actually calling for an uprising.
What's wrong with that? We are not calling for an insurrection or insurgency or a coup or a military takeover. No. All we are saying for the people to assert themselves. And that is perfectly within the parameters of the Constitution.
They assert themselves in their homes, in their churches, in their mosques. So
do we go into those details?
Because
we're not about to invent new wheels. It has happened in different countries. Rosa Parks in America just did one simple thing of refusing to yield her seat in that bus.
One lady I know here in Kampala,
yes,
called Nalongo Nana, picked her mattress, picked her flask, and her constitution, and drove to the police headquarters in Naguru.
And carrying a fetus in her womb.
Yeah, and a pregnant lady. You know what happened to her?
This is what I'm saying.
Yes, but
you see, this is because the whole thing is, the battle starts with conscientization. For people to appreciate that actually they are captives. This is what we have always mentioned.
Hold on to your point, your worship. We are going to take a break. When we come back, let's continue with the discussion on this very topic. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight is the Lord Mayor of Kampala, His Worship Elias Lukwago. Let me put this very mildly, if I could, that because Robert Chagulanyi has come out and has gotten this almost global stage that has embraced him, and so is the country.
Is it good for the country or bad?
Well, he's a man who has gotten what he has. He has got some charisma. He has people who are following him, and I can see people running.
Before even you pose your question,
yes,
if people respond to the call we have always made, because I'm even inviting you, Kamara, here. Your brother Joel Senyonyi was here a couple of weeks ago. He resigned, and now he is in the gutters. Kindly also put in the towel and join us in the fray. So if I make that call, Kamara, you come and join us like Senyonyi did. Like all these other people have done. And Honorable Chagulanyi, he makes a sacrifice, a huge sacrifice, to his musical career. Because right now he can't stage any concert in the country. There is a moratorium now being slammed on him, never to host a musical concert in the country. Now he is full time in the struggle. Is that good or bad?
Well, it's a good thing to be.
Exactly.
Let me tell you one thing, because maybe you have not understood it. Honorable Robert Chagulanyi has been able to inspire young Ugandans, the likes of Joel Senyonyi, and by the way, I know a couple of number of people in corporate Uganda who very soon will be
Exactly. The fence sitters.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
Because that
and I challenge you.
That is something that he has that perhaps has been lacking. That he can tell somebody working in a corporate Uganda, you are employed, you're okay, you seem to be comfortable. He tells you know what, we need to go, you need to jump now, and they do jump. That is the magic that he has, and that's why you should swallow your humble pie and follow
let me tell
the Honorable Chagulanyi, because that is him.
With all humility, Honorable Chagulanyi has been very clear that he has been inspired by Dr. Kizza Besigye. Don't you think Dr. Kizza Besigye is proud to have inspired a man like Honorable Chagulanyi to also come up and say, no, enough is enough? Don't you think he feels proud of that? Don't you also think that I also feel proud when I meet 1, 2 younger men who either two were fence sitters and now they are saying, no, because of what you people have gone through, Lukwago, I feel I should also make a contribution to the liberation of this country. You think I don't feel good? I don't feel happy? Do you think we enjoy facing, swallowing the tear gas alone, facing these jails alone, being in the streets lonely, being squeezed in our homesteads, like it happened at the entrance of my home, single-handedly? Do you think we enjoy it? You think we enjoy it? Then you'd be a sadist if you thought that we enjoy this beating, this humiliation, this torture, that we enjoy it. We don't enjoy it. A non-violent struggle is fought by the citizens, by the people. And that's why we are saying, personally, from the bottom of my heart, I feel relieved when I see a resurgent population coming up saying, no, we have been inspired by people at the forefront. Now we are joining the fray. We are jumping into the fray. The youth you are talking about, the Joel Senyonyi. You don't know how happy I am. You see, at first I thought it is too good to be true.
Yeah, but
that somebody, Joseph, let me tell you, let me complete this, yes, who had a budding career, a very promising career in journalism, throwing in the towel and saying, no, he's not going for a better and a lucrative job, but he's saying, I'm going to swallow tear gas. Do you know what that means?
You know what it means.
And clearly, the progressive forces are there downplaying that.
What it means. That he has been inspired by the people the new kid on the block.
Let me tell you.
I understand exactly. And perhaps there could even be many more. But I also know that has been your holy grail. You have not been able to inspire the likes of him. But when Robert Chagulanyi appears on the stage, people are ready to throw in the towel. People are ready to leave whatever they've been doing.
You mean you don't love your grandchildren? If you have grandchildren, you don't love them. Listen. If Honorable Chagulanyi is inspired by Besigye, and then Joel Senyonyi of a different generation is inspired by Chagulanyi, don't you think Besigye is proud of that? The ripple effect is quite pervasive.
I was not hoping that you would be telling me this politics of Azukulu, but well, if you believe that's the Mazukulu.
But that's the reality.
Okay.
As we talk right now.
But could you please put in context this kind of, because it's not even a merger or a coalition or whatever, because some of these things need to be registered with the Electoral Commission if you wanted to come together. Please, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. I think it is good for Uganda and even for the people who are viewing right now.
Well, I've heard within the section of society and the media, people misconstruing the arrangement we came up with. Some are calling it a merger. Others are calling it an alliance. Others, you may call it, they have called it a coalition or a movement or whatever, or a front. And people are using these words interchangeably, thinking that they mean one and the same. That's not true. For the record and for starters, we never created a merger. People power and people's government have not been fused into one, because that's what a merger is all about. It has not happened. We have not created an electoral alliance, because I believe actually the legal regime we have in the country is not conducive for political formations to create an alliance. If you looked at the provisions of Section 18 of the Political Parties and Organizations Act, it's permissive. Two or more political organizations or parties are allowed to come together and form an alliance. It doesn't envisage platforms like a people's government, which are pressure groups, which are put in the cluster. It may not necessarily be pressure, but put in a cluster of like a people power. Actually, there is an exclusion clause within Section 12 of the Political Parties and Organizations Act, to the effect that pressure groups are excluded from the requirement to register
as a political party.
An alliance can only be formed by registered political parties, and they are required to register with the Electoral Commission. And you know the tragedy with it, the absurdity with it, actually, that even when you register, they are saying you remain, the parties will remain their individual symbols when you go into an election. Then you wonder which kind of alliance is that. That if FDC is to merge with the DP, just as an example, DP will remain with this Sandy Hall, and FDC will remain with its key as symbols, and you go into an electoral contest. But you have registered. So you are not even allowed to register a single unifying symbol as an alliance. So that is not tenable.
Okay.
A coalition essentially is all about power sharing. Agreeing that, please,
I think
once
it
we
would
capture
be better if you tell us what yours is now.
what ours is.
Yes.
At the moment, you can describe it as a cooperation, which may morph progressively into a common front, because you have two movements, not in the NRM sense, because this word has been vulgarized. You have the people power movement and the people government, which is a war government. And in going by that nomenclature, you can also call it a movement, if you so wish. Those ones have agreed to hammer out a common agenda to address the political challenges of the day, but not necessarily to form a merger or an electoral alliance or a coalition about power sharing. But what can happen in the near future, because the engagements are still ongoing, I've told you it's work in progress. What can happen is for these two formations, together with the other forces of change, because the struggle does not belong to these two formations. There are others, even civic organizations, religious leaders, and a couple of others. So all those ones can come in, then we can have a common front of all the forces of change. That is the ideal under the circumstances. Once we form that coalition to advance the struggle, we usher in we get rid of the current military government. We make sure that Mr. Museveni is not on the ballot paper come 2021. We have a transitional government in place, which shall organize free and fair elections, and then we move on as a country.
So those are actually your deliverables, the things you want to be done before.
In summary,
that's what you want.
Yes, but it can happen like it has happened elsewhere. Let me tell you,
you're working to ensure that candidate Museveni is not on the ballot, or there's no candidate Museveni in 2021.
There are other ways of bringing down the government, not necessarily through an electoral process. I'll tell you, you can force Mr. Museveni to resign. You can make the environment too hostile for him to continue with his. It can happen.
When you come together,
yes,
because
you can force him to flee.
I've heard some
free state house.
I've heard some people say, in fact, that the coming on board of the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi is probably the best thing that has happened to NRM, and I'm saying this because you have spent
those are our detractors.
Well, you have spent the last be realistic. You have spent the last 2 or 3 months almost fighting each other. instead of fighting what you
You
call
see,
economic.
that is reverse psychology. You
But
don't
that's
know.
what has happened.
No.
It's the,
You see, with the emergence of these forces and formations, obviously, there are those dynamics and contradictions which come with those new developments. I'll give you an example. On 22nd, General Mugisha is launching his anti-party. On 22nd. You think it's not going to create a debate? You think so? So it's going to happen. But ultimately, he will find his way of aligning himself and his colleagues to the broader struggle we have in the country. You get the point? So here, the emergence of Honorable Kyagulanyi should not be perceived in that particular context. And that is for the detractors.
but
His emergency
it is true.
and the debate it has generated
it is true.
is good. It adds value to the struggle.
It is also true that within the opposition.
Okay, you as an independent observer, let me not talk about, don't put on the prism of NRM. They are, the way they look at it. Don't put it in their prism. Just as an independent observer. Listen, wait a minute. Are you convinced that the emergence of Honorable Kyagulanyi has not added value to the struggle?
Your Worship.
Yes?
We invited you to answer questions, not to question me.
All right.
I hope you will you'll understand that. But what I was trying to explain is that I have seen some element of conflict within the opposition. And that, I'm sure, the members of the people, your adversaries, must be laughing. Say, look at what they are doing. Look at how they are hitting at each other. You have given them some kind of...
Are those contradictions?
You have given some kind of a valve to breathe. But if you had come together and put your forces together and take on your adversaries, by now you'd be giving them more sleepless nights. But you haven't.
Are you suggesting for them, I mean, these contradictions are alien to the opposition? Human in nature is always like that. So let me tell you, I'm yet to find a homogeneous society where a consensus is built even where there is no debate, where there is no interface or interaction. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about building a consensus. Let me complete my point just 1 minute. Those contradictions you are talking about are of yesterday. There is a new chapter from yesterday. The other day, yes, we are talking of those contradictions, and they were good for the struggle. And in physics, you know that. It is those forces that creates motion. Isn't it those forces?
Yeah, it's good you admit there have been contradictions.
Yes, it's a reality.
And they have caused some kind of...
I was very clear right from the beginning that I'm a realist. I can't deceive my conscience. That will never happen. That is not me. That's not me.
Now, if you want to take political power, maybe 2021 or what, you really need to recruit from the NRM. We really need to see those political heavyweights maybe crossing the political the aisle. So coming to
you saw the 27 who went to court to challenge the Chobe resolution of solo candidate 2021 and beyond. Where are they destined for? Where is that journey going to end? Where do you see them ending? And the others actually who are now donning red right from the time of Tojo Kwatako, they are there.
So you are recruiting.
I don't need to.
Because
you don't need.
Because that's what you need. That you need people to cross from yellow to whatever it is. But you need them to cross. You need them to buy your idea. You need them to.
This one that is okay. But when you talk of recruitment, it's more or less like you were saying that we have an exclusive club where we want to recruit members. Recruitment is for political parties. Of course, if even those who are in a struggle can recruit combatants, but in a non-violent struggle, you just conscientize the nation so that everyone engages in the struggle from wherever they are. I don't need to bring the NRM into the people's government. If they can face off Mr. Museveni in his state house and tell him off, the Nagendas to tell him that, man, why don't you retire? You are aged. The Sechikubo was going to court and the others. What do I lose? Even if they don't join the people's government. That's why I don't want to hear the word recruitment. We're not recruiting.
You know, there's a new phenomena. I suppose it's most likely that all contenders for political power or who want office in 2021 will be making their journey to Magere to get that endorsement or some kind of blessing from Bobi Wine, because he really holds some sway. Will you do the same?
I think this is what I said. Let us not delve into those petty issues. I'm sorry to say this. The battle is not
You
about.
don't consider that important
You see, it isn't at all. Because
to seek his endorsement?
it's not about seeking for electoral support.
Because you need
If,
it. You're a
if
politician.
it's about electoral support, for heaven's sake, I've never lost an election. For your information, in 2006,
Yeah, but the ground is shifting.
can I give you facts if you have forgotten?
No, I know. I covered
In
your election.
2006, we had 3 candidates, myself, Babu, and FDC Jethro Niwagaba. I emerged victorious. And they wanted to subvert my victory, and I fought resolutely through courts and whatnot until the will of the people prevailed. In 2011, we were 7 candidates, many from the opposition, including Honorable Mabike, Emmanuel Tumusime Mutebi, Emmanuel Tufil, Sandra Ngabo. There was also, I think, Babu was NRM and others. The Sabatibas and others. In 2016, we were also 3 candidates. The late Honorable Chikungweme, he so rest in eternal peace, was there holding the DP ticket. But I got 75%. Actually, no, 2016, I got 217 votes. 200,000, yes, 217,000 votes.
Okay.
And Ragadi got only 60,000, constituting, my victory constituted close to 80%. In 2011, it constituted almost 75%.
I mean, that's why I
So it's
began
not
telling you.
So listen, and for a sake, I shouldn't even have gone into this because you're probing me too much. I just don't want to post this because I'm proud. No, but to give you the to detoxicate that toxin you people are creating, which is contaminating the political environment in this country. It's very, very absurd that when we join forces, people are seeking for endorsement. That is very, very absurd. And it stinks. With all due respect, it stinks. Because...
So you suppose it is of no consequence for a candidate to seek the blessings or the endorsement of Honorable Robert Chagulanyi?
Because what has brought us together is not about choosing candidates. And I must give credit to the 2 principals, Dr. Chiza Besigye and Honorable Chagulanyi, for the meeting of the mind on this issue. To say no. What the thread that brings us together is not the election. Because if that was the binding thread, we would create an electoral alliance. But the issue is about fighting the military regime we have right now.
Okay.
Which is very repressive and oppressive.
Your Worship, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll open the lines that you two, you can be a part of this discussion. You see the numbers on your screen, and please call and be precise and concise so that we can take maybe a couple of calls. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Kamara. My guest tonight is the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Elias Lukwago. Recently, we saw, an opinion poll by Research World International. Okay, some kind of research that puts politically Bobi Wine miles ahead of Dr. Besigye, Mao, and Muntu. If they were to have, for example, a joint presidential joint candidate. Do you believe those opinion kind of polls?
Certainly not. Because I know it's a ritual. You know how electoral calendar has become so obvious that it is easily predictable. You'll know around this time there will be an opinion poll. The other day, first Wakida, who conducted that research, and I told him, yeah, you've lived up to our expectations by coming up with this poll around this time. Because the last time you conducted it was 2015. And he considered it was 2015 when he last conducted an opinion poll. But an opinion poll cannot be about candidates only. They are political questions. How many has he conducted? Why didn't he conduct an opinion poll about Tojukwata, how many MPs he expected to do ABCD? And in any case, if it is Research World International, Why are they restricted to Uganda? Right now, there are elections going on in South Africa. Why doesn't it tell us the performance of EFF or Musimani or ANC? Why doesn't it tell us? Why doesn't it tell us about who is likely to win the 2022 elections in Kenya? In the DRC, was he there?
So you think that information is what Ugandans want to know? And it should be
but it is
into that?
Research World International. And I posed the question to him, which I remember was asked on the Fourth Estate here. I was here watching. I was at home watching the Fourth Estate when he was being hosted by Charles Mwangusha. He said, but who is funding this project? You mean you're a good Samaritan who thinks that Ugandans want to answer a particular question? Let me volunteer. You put in your resources. He doesn't even explain how much he sunk in. He doesn't explain. So obviously those opinion polls are choreographed to deliver a particular message. That's what it's all about.
Okay, let me open the lines so that we can have you participate in this discussion. By just tell us your name and where you're calling from, and please, if you can be very precise and concise, so that we can have a couple of people ask the Lord Mayor questions that they may be having. As you try to do that, yesterday when we said we were going to host you, one person from the Democratic Party wanted to know why the Honorable Elias Lukwago moved away from the Party of Truth and Justice.
Did I move away? The party? Did I move away? Have I denounced? I denounced my membership?
Well,
in
that's
DP?
how it has been understood too. That's how you understand.
I've told you there are 3 ways of losing a membership in DP, at least as far as our constitution is concerned. Either by resignation, sacking, or death. No any other way. Sacking, I've never been sacked. Resignation, I've never relinquished my membership. Death, I'm here speaking. So how did I lose my membership in DP? Let me tell you this, and for a fact, today, because of the political environment, not even a single political actor belongs to a party exclusively without subscribing to any other platform, which is not a political party. We are split into different groups.
Yes.
You may be a DP member, a bona fide member of Democratic Party, but subscribing to another formation, whether pressure group or another platform. You'll find so many people today. Like myself, I'm a DP member, but subscribing to the People's Government, which is not a political organization. You'll find FDC members, they are holding cards, their blood is blue, but they are members of the People's Government, which is not FDC. You'll find members of DP, for example, like others, who subscribe to People Power. And I like the creativity of my party members. You find the belt here is red, the shirt is green, the shoes are red, the jacket may be blending to have a tinge of green and red. To reflect.
That looks very comical.
No, to reflect the reality. Because you are an embodiment of different rights, interests. You belong to DP, whose color is green, but you also subscribe to People Power, which is red. So you have to blend it creatively, and I don't fault them, because that is the situation we are dealing with.
I know your colleagues have actually even.
You get the point.
Your colleagues have actually given
So-
them names. They said there are those who are pumpkin and those who are
So
who are watermelon.
if the assumption you are putting across that I quit DP is because I subscribe to the People's Government, then that is, with all due respect,
I'm giving you a view that I had, that probably they have seen you not as active as you used to be in the Democratic Party. Probably they think you are more of FDC or People's Government, and they
because
think that
the activities right now are centered around 2 formations. majority of DP members are in people power. And the others, some of us, we are in people's government. Now we have got a common a meeting point, a convergence point. And I'm very happy. And majority of Ugandans there are excited about this new arrangement. And I implore the likes of the Mabikes I've seen here, please don't shoot down this wonderful idea. Let us tether our political interests at our respective political organization. We shelve our ambitions and put the struggle before us, before our selfish agenda.
So what do you make of the DP bloc?
What do I make a DP bloc?
Or what do you make of that? A DP bloc of
In the
coming
in the format of
SDP, of Democratic Party, and
I think
Dr.
it was
Abed
an
Waniga.
attempt at creating a merger, because the two are offshoots of DP, SDP and the PDP of one, the offshoots. I think they wanted to come back to the fold so that they operate from within the mainstream. But they didn't concretize that, and I didn't make sense of the signing, because if I'm coming back home, why do I have to sign an agreement? You just simply return.
Do they come back with some political capital?
Everybody counts. If is not indulging in a negative agenda, negative rather energies. If you add value to the struggle, that is very crucial. It's critical.
Okay, let's take maybe one or two callers, and then you can respond to them. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kampala.
Okay, if you can turn down the volume of your TV set so that doesn't send an echo here, then we shall have a better conversation with you.
Hello.
Yes, hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go right ahead with what you have to say tonight.
I wanted to thank Lord Mayor.
Yes.
I like him so much. He's a good man.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm called Leon Bashaka.
Okay. Mr. Bashaka, all you wanted to say that you thank the Lord Mayor because you like him so much. He's a good man.
I like him so much. And right now, what I'm seeing,
Yes.
FDC is on the right track.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Bashaka. I suppose that brings a smile on the face of the Lord Mayor. Let me just take one more, and then... Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Masisi Innocent calling from Kampala.
Innocent, you're on air.
Yeah, I would like to thank the Lord Mayor.
Okay.
Because this is what is happening now.
Mm-hmm.
Looks to be better because we are just enjoying. As the Lord Mayor is trying to explain what is going on.
Okay.
It's really good.
In what sense?
That now the FDC and
People power.
FDC and Bobi Wine,
Yes.
we are merging our efforts.
Mm-hmm.
See that at least at the end we shall resurrect our Uganda.
Okay. Thank you very much, Innocent. If time allows, I can take maybe one more. I have a call online. Hello. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from? Oh, it's a pity. I think that line has dropped. And you have two, my producers telling me we'll take one more caller. Hello. Hello.
Yes, please.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Vaga Johnson Norman calling from Arua.
In Arua, you're on air, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I first have to congratulate the Lord Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've been following this program from the beginning up to now.
Okay.
I hope this union of I just urge the Lord Mayor to fight for us. We are really vulnerable in northern Uganda, most especially in Western Nile.
Okay.
We don't enjoy the national cake. We struggle on our own.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay. You seem to have heard a couple of people who are congratulating you, maybe on the merger and all things, and
I
quite
think
a
that
number of them
sends
are
a
happy,
powerful message
are happy with you.
to our colleagues in the DP bloc.
Respond to
that
them
Ugandans-
and make your concluding remark.
Yeah, I just want to request our colleagues in different formations who may be harboring sentiments against this new arrangement. Please have a self-realization of the challenges we are facing. Critically reflect on this, realign your mind, because it all begins with a mindset. Please recast your mind to frame it in the direction where Uganda should be going. Because what we need right now is not political rivalry. It's not people pointing or choosing fingers. It's about coming together. You've heard this gentleman who is telling in Western Nile, they have been marginalized, and that's for a fact. You've been there.
Yeah.
They are not connected to the national grid. Power is rationed there. And all these other things you may think of, which may be as of right here, for them they are luxuries. You've been there. So these are serious issues.
Arua is a bustling city.
Oh my God.
Arua is not really. It's a wonderful town. I've been to
It
Arua.
is, but the basic amenities of life, running water, clean water, electricity, the good schools, and so on and so forth. That's why they were, sometime they were actually thinking of an idea of creating an independent state, the Nile Republic. So once you reach the border there at River Nile, after testing some nang, you'll have to pull out your passport before you cross over to Western Nile. It's because of the challenges people are facing. Today, you see, if people begin thinking along those lines of dismembering the country, you know, the frustration. So these are the challenges we need to address our minds to. If we were to take you through the challenges we are facing in Kampala, the other day I was here, you see, it's a huge challenge. So let us embrace this. These two gentlemen you see here, as vanguards of the struggle, have come out to say, look here, we have had a cordial talk. We have had a conversation about the national question, and this is the direction. Whoever believes in Dr. Besigye, listen to the message. Whoever believes in Honorable Kyagulanyi, and you mean well for the struggle, and you genuinely support him, support the vision he has documented. That is my call.
Thank you. Lord Mayor of Kampala, Elias Lukwago, thank you very much for having honored our invitation. Thank you for your contribution. We appreciate your insights on the matter. And since you've come together in peace, and we hope you all are pulling in one direction, you all want a better Uganda. And even when you disagree, I suppose, it's not that because you hate each other, but I think because you love your country more.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Good night and God bless Uganda.